The man who murdered 51 people and injured 40 others in the March 15 mosque attacks initially wanted to stand trial, claiming self-defence based on his ideology. Brenton Tarrant told his lawyers he was happy when police added the terrorism charge 2 months after his attack because he wanted to be called a terrorist. The Court of Appeal heard today from the two lawyers who acted for Tarrant immediately after the attack until he fired them more than a year later. Senior reporter Juliet Speedy was in court.
There's high security outside the Court of Appeal as the terrorist listens in to his hearing each day from prison. Barristers Jonathan Hudson and Shane Tate agreed to defend him 13 days after the terror attack and then met with the murderer around 40 times.
I did spend a lot of personal time with him in a face-to-face environment.
He knew early on this was no usual client, like when he told the terrorist one charge had been upgraded from attempted murder to murder.
You specifically recalled this discussion because of the extremely unusual response Mr. Tarrant took?
Yes, it wasn't the response that I'd expected.
And then his response once the terrorism charge was laid, 2 months after the attack.
Do you agree that his response to that was again unexpected?
Yes, he was pleased. He wanted to be described as a terrorist.
The 35-year-old who killed and injured nearly 100 people now wants to vacate his guilty pleas for the terror attacks and stand trial instead. Shortly after the attacks, he told both of his lawyers he wanted to stand trial, claiming self-defence.
Do you accept, though, despite that throughout his time with you, that he believed he had a defence to the charges, which was based on his ideological beliefs?
Really, I only understood his belief in a defence to be a claim of self-defence, one that we explained was not available to him.
I made it clear that it wasn't available to him, and in my opinion, any trial judge would not let that defence be put to a jury. They also advised him the evidence against him was overwhelming. It started off with the GoPro. There was a lengthy statement. There was the CCTV. There was text messages that he had sent to his mother and sister prior to entering the mosque, advising them of his behaviour. And I think there was then a recorded voice message from his mother inviting him to not continue with that behaviour. When the terrorist was planning to go to trial, he declined the advice of his lawyers to move it out of Christchurch. In fairness to Mr. Tarrant, his explanation was that he didn't want to be seen running away from the community in which he committed the crime. He was quite happy to be judged by peers in Christchurch. His lawyer told the court that soon after being sent to prison, he was encountering what was described as a relatively tough time. He showed signs of anxiety in the first, I would say, 4 weeks of being incarcerated. He was dressed 24/7 in a hideous suicide suit, handcuffed at the front with a waist belt so that his hands could move maybe no more than 1 or 2 inches. There was a number of weeks where he wasn't given a pen or paper. His lawyer revealed today that he had a lot of fan mail in prison and that he often requested media reports about his case. The terrorist told the court yesterday he didn't want to appear weak to the public, but wanted to come across as assured and confident to help with the political movement he claims to be part of. His lawyers backed that up today to say he was very concerned about how he appeared in public. What is strong is evident in the survivors, many who are watching this hearing each day. Tamal Aotearoa was shot 9 times on March 15 and is still suffering mentally and physically.
He get what he deserved, and then he has to be deal it as a man, what he did, and then have to be stop self-pitying himself. So pretty much he's doing that. So I'm just laughing at him.
Tamal Aotearoa says the families are united and just want peace for themselves and for all of New Zealand.
So, Juliet, what else has the court heard today that the terrorist believes added to his alleged inhumane conditions while he was in custody?
Well, Sam, some of the things that he's claiming were torturous and inhumane was the fact that he was kept in segregation, that he was constantly observed, that he wasn't allowed many phone calls to his family, that he wasn't allowed access to many media reports, and that for a time he didn't eat much because he believed his food may have been contaminated by fellow prisoners or corrections staff. Now, survivor Tamala Aotearoa, who's been watching the hearing this week, said today that if he could see the terrorist face to face, he would tell him to be a man like Tamala's, because apart from anything else, this hearing, Tamala says, is making him look like he's acting and playing like a child.